just left Green Turtle Cay, said goodbye to my sister and her fiance, and we're off to Great Guana Cay. To get there, we have to actually go out into the Atlantic Ocean and then come back inside. In between here and Great Guana, there's a bunch of shifting sands and you can't get through in between. It's Great Abaco, right?
Yeah.
And then all of its barrier islands. We're about less than a mile away from getting through that cut right now. It's called Whale Cut.
We're seeing some open ocean swell coming in through here because there's no barrier reef out here to stop it. So we're starting to roll up and down, which is cool. Could tack and come at it the other way, but I don't really want to mess around with breaking seas and reefs and rocks. No, it's not very wide. Yeah, I think we need to maybe turn on the engine just to get off this shore a little bit. Try maybe sail. Sail. We got the wind now.
Don't you have to do that?
Yeah, I have to do the sailing part.
We made it through the cut, no drama. We sailed all the way through and didn't even turn on the engine. What about that? That was easy peasy.
Well, that's only half of it. Still gotta do the other half.
That's true.
Nice looking boat. Oh, that's a Halberg Rossi.
Yeah.
The boat feels all weird because the wind is coming this way, so we're keeled over that way, but the tide's coming this way fairly quick right now, and so the boat's like kind of all sluggish, moving around all funny. It's not a bad movement, it's just
different.
You can feel it. Yeah.
What would you like?
I think vanilla chamomile.
This morning I am making some French toast out of Bahamian coconut bread that we got at a bakery in New Plymouth on Green Turtle Cay. I guess you can find it throughout the islands, but this is the first one we've been to, so can't speak for that yet. But we've already had the French toast once. We actually made it when my sister was here at her Airbnb, and it was one of the best French toasts I think I've ever had in my entire life. I think it's hard to say that it's the best because I think there's so many different ways that you can make French toast that are awesome. So, but Kirk said that the only thing that can make it better was
bacon.
Bacon
makes everything.
And bacon makes everything better. I like to do 1 egg per slice because I like it extra eggy.
Got to feel in heaven when my lover's near. Lord, let this moment last for another year. Though today has ended, the night's still young, I'd say. Lover, don't go away.
The coconut bread's like really nice, light white bread. Really light coconut flavor, and it's just ever so slightly sweet. Makes perfect French toast.
Oh yeah. This is our first snorkeling expedition to an actual reef.
if we want to snorkel.
You think it's too shallow?
It might be.
So you want to go over there and snorkel off that?
I don't know, let's just go explore.
Alright. There's a bunch of vacation rentals and houses and private residences over at Great Guana Cay, and we heard that people aren't super nice about you walking on the beach out in front of their place, so we figured that we'd just go over to the other uninhabited island. I think it suits us more.
Yeah, I think so too. Apparently 10 years ago, like none of those houses existed on this island, and this was like all, I think that's where all those comments on Active Captain where you could walk all the way around on the beach.
Oh.
Now you can't.
Well, we didn't try.
We didn't try.
We didn't bring our sandals, so it's a bit hard to walk around, so we're going out, see if we can get to the reef. This was the furthest we had taken Rahm from Soulianis before, and we were trying to be cautious because Rahm's just a little guy, and so is our e-propulsion. We're still exploring the limits of our equipment, and with any activity that takes us away from the safety net of other people and assistance, we try to make sure we're not putting ourselves in a position we can't get out of.
I think it's mostly just the current that I was worried about.
Just going in between these two things. That's what we tried before, right?
Yeah, that was too shallow. Is there any stuff?
There's some stuff. There's some great coral. A bunch of spongy things. We went snorkeling yesterday. We took the dinghy around to the Atlantic side. It's probably a half-hour dinghy ride, 40-minute dinghy ride. And as we're puttering along with our little trolling motor, Kirk says that it would be really nice to have a motor that could plane our dinghy. But what we did agree later on was, after watching someone try to start their outboard, was we would take being able to start our outboard any day over a planing dinghy. So
Every day.
yeah,
Every time.
every time.
Without
fail.
pulling and pulling and pulling and
Yeah.
swearing and cussing and ripping the top of the outboard motor off to clean the carburetor, replace the spark plug, spray it with starting fluid. Pulling and pulling and pulling, realizing it's flooded, cursing some more, sitting and waiting and just drifting downwind. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a planing motor though.
Next boat.
Next boat.
So we've been anchored on the north side of Great Guana Cay for 2 nights. It's been a little rolly. Every time the tide changes, the boat just doesn't know what to do and it's rocking all over the place. So we're gonna move a little bit further south. It's only gonna be a 3 or 4 mile little sail and the winds are super light. So we're gonna try to throw up everything we got, see if we can make it there before the afternoon's over. This is a new pre-sailing ritual. We now have to take the paddleboard off the deck and put it down into the cabin so that we have free topsides to move about the boat.
Got it?
Yep. Now I just tie this puppy to the mast and we're good to go. Alright, what are we doing?
We're gonna fly the drone with just the 2 of us on board for the first time while sailing. You ready?
Are you nervous?
I'm very nervous.
Yeah, I'm ready. Perfect!
This is the aftermath.
I so wish we had this on camera.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
But you were filming the whole time, right, with the drone?
Yeah.
The drone would not come near the boat. Kirk would get him towards the boat, and we're moving. Every time it got too close to the radar, to the backstay, to the bimini, to the sail, he would just take off again.
He flew between the sail and the backstay twice.
So at the last second, fortunately he wasn't screaming yet, like...
Right, he was not. That would have cranked up the tension a lot more.
When the drone starts to go, like it's a friggin' alarm before something blows up. So yeah, he wasn't doing that yet, but we were close. The last second I'm like, I'm getting in the dinghy! Because there's no obstructions around the dinghy. So I pretty much fell in the dinghy.
Jumped/fell.
Jump/fell. And yeah, that was it. Got him on the first try.
Thankfully there were no boats around. There were no shoals around.
We had plenty of sea room. This is a pretty good
spot to do it.
Yeah. And the wind was...
light enough.
9-10.
I think next time we're going to turn off the collision avoidance and we'll just luff up into the wind and heave to.
Yeah.
Before we try and land.
Yeah.
Because that was way better. I think if we had the Phantom where you could just grab the landing gear and just hold on to it and then shut it down, it would be way easier. But the Mavic is hard to land.
Yeah, you have to grab its body. There's no other place to grab because you're trying not to
I can't believe I didn't hit the radar or the backstay. It was so freaking close. That was exhilarating.
Anchored, and I just made up a snack plate for lunch.
This is the first time we've done this in a long time.
Yeah, sat in the cockpit with the table up and...
Yeah. I actually enjoyed being out here. Under the shade
of our lovely bimini. There's gonna be a lot of shots of that. That was a lovely little sail. I feel like every time I want to pull out the camera and talk about a sail, it's a lovely little sail. But that one was probably the littlest, loveliest little sail.
Yeah, that was the littlest.
It's like 3 miles. And now we're set, and Kirk just showed me navionics. We always look to see, after we drop the hook, if we start doing this swinging back and forth.
That means we're hooked.
That means we're pretty darn hooked. We forgot to bring our anchor because we were going to go to a dock, and so we figured we didn't need an anchor. And these docks are really high, and it looks like everyone has a stern anchor. But there is a fortress just hanging out here right on the dock. I said, Kirk, is this a complimentary anchor? He's like, no, it's not. And we're tooling around here trying to keep the dinghy from going underneath the dock, and he said, well, maybe it is a complimentary anchor. What'd you think of the nipper?
Nipper was good.
I think it was guava flavored.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. It was pink. Got me tipsy.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a nap when we get back to the boat.
Yeah.
First, you gotta get all the sand off me, though. That's what happens when you go snorkeling off the beach. Get all the sand all up in your bits. Got sand in your bits, Kirk?
I got no sand in my bits. My bits are sand free.
Aren't you lucky?